But I think the downfall of Naruto is going to be a political thing, a social and political problem. Um,
Mm.
and go figure. I made a video about this, but I do think Kawaki's turn to the darkness, or his path towards a more negative route, and Naruto's downfall. It all sparks with the whole Kawaki killing Boruto, because if we look at it, right, Naruto has been extremely incompetent in his role as Hokage during the Boruto era, just based off of my perspective. So not only did he take like the enemy, Amato, who defected, and he just trusted him and allowed him to give him pills that he just gave to his child. That's weird to me that you're relying on the former enemy to find your solutions for you. To me, I find that strange. And I also find it strange that he took Kawaki in to begin with, right? Like, why would you risk that, the lives of the villagers, right? To take this child in because you sympathize with him. Well, that's your problem. That's a personal thing. Don't risk the lives of your villagers for that. And you even bring him into your own home, no less, right? You knew the enemy will be targeting him, and you literally put us on the map, right? Because you were overconfident and arrogant. And even if you go to chapter, what was it, 65, I believe, is when Naruto first left with Shikamaru, right? He leaves there in Toad Sage mode, extremely arrogant. He's going to bring Boruto back, and we know what happens, right? So he broke his ninja word. And then we're going all the way back to the conversation, or rather the argument that Naruto was having with Sasuke on the rooftop, where Sasuke was like, "Hey, man, you don't have Kurama anymore. You need to come to terms with this. You're not that dude anymore. So you're gonna have to make choices, factoring that in mind." And even going back a little further, where Gaara's like, "Hey, will you be willing to do what needs to be done? Will you be willing to kill Boruto before Momoshiki becomes an actual threat?" He didn't do any of that, right? So now we have a situation where Borto's death needs to be explained, and maybe they cover it up. And I'm not sure if the villagers even know, right? Wasn't Borto touted as being the hero after they defeated Ishiki,
Hmm.
right? Does anyone know he even has Momoshiki in him? Why didn't they know this? Why didn't you relay this information to the villagers? Why are you hiding things, Lord Seventh, right? And then I think political concerns can arise from that. The feudal lords get involved, the other nations leaders get involved, and next thing his competence is being called into question. Now we need a new Hokage. Now this dude, we've lost faith in him. He's losing the faith of the citizens, so on and so forth. And I think that could really,
Anarchy.
that combined, him losing his dream combined with his son's death, combined with however Hinata and Himawari will react, combined with the social and political issues, I think all of that can send Naruto spiraling down a pretty dark path himself. And I think if that happens, the world turning on Naruto, I think Kawaki sees that. This shinobi system with these ungrateful people, he just tried to do his best, and you people treat him like this once great man. You lower him down to this level, and I think he wants to get rid of that system because of something similar. So if I had to create an arc, I think it would be setting up those political and social conflicts for Naruto once we kind of catch up to chapter 66 and beyond.
I absolutely agree with that. I think one of the best things that we could potentially look for in an upcoming arc is actual conflict. Now, don't get me wrong, all respect to the hit and miss village, but let's keep it 1,000. Some pirates attacking some islands isn't necessarily some critical conflict that we're really going to be that interested
Hmm.
about, even though I personally think that this arc is definitely has some potential. I think a arc where literally Naruto is being questioned, people are actually trying to figure out exactly how they can get Naruto out of power, potentially even try to actually do some harm against Naruto. That right there could potentially open some eyebrows among the actual fans out there. Personally, I think an arc like just where there's like a certain group of people who actually want to kind of overthrow the current government in the Hidden Leaf Fields, especially the Hokage, would probably be extremely impactful to not only Kawaki but also Boruto as well. Understand that this right here is like it's bigger than just them two specifically. We understand that so much in Boruto right now is just surrounded around Boruto and Kawaki. No one really takes a step back and try to understand how is Momoshiki attacking the Hidden Leaf Village. How does that impact the people from down the street that's owning a ramen shop? How is that impacting people that's actually trying to
Not
go
the
to
ramen shop.
regulars? Yeah, how does that impact people
Not the
trying to go
ramen.
to regular school, not necessarily the ninja school? I think exploring that aspect would probably be a very, very good thing. Again, not only because legitimately close to the plot. It's actually Naruto potentially being forced to quote unquote step down, but also it's actually encompassing everybody in the Hidden Leaf Village, and potentially even encompassing other villages as well. We already seen Gaara essentially try to go to Hidden Leaf Village, try to gather information about Gaara. Gaara already brought up to Naruto. We might have to do something about Momoshiki. Have other villages as well join that coalition to potentially, question if Naruto is the correct guy for the job. I've always been doing this the whole time. Naruto has a huge I forgot what it's called, conflict of interest. Boruto's son is the problem. Boruto's other adopted son is the problem. So
What?
Naruto. So
Naruto's,
Naruto,
yeah.
yeah, my
Nah,
bad.
I'm associated.
So Nar,
Yeah,
so
Saruto,
Nar,
man.
yeah, my bad.
Saruto.
Time
So
travel.
my bad, my bad. So Naruto being the person that actually handled all of this, making the actual decisions, that right there is extremely dangerous. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And just I don't know, man. Like you probably wouldn't agree with me when I say he's been very incompetent, but like I agree. Like there's a conflict of interest there. Like literally, when you look at all the other world leaders, like all the other Kage, right? When you look at them, yes, they have their own conflict, right? You go back to the Octa arc or the Mitsuki retrieval arc, whatever you want to call it. They had their own internal stuff, and yes, other villages got involved, but it didn't really affect the greater shinobi world. Every conflict that Naruto has affects the greater shinobi world. It's like what's good with this dude, bro? Like, can you just like not, bro? Like, can we just get a moment where you not like, you know? So, and that all comes to what Bar is talking about, right? That conflict of interest where he inserted himself into a situation where he didn't need to be in. Now, of course, we know he needed to be in it from a plot point, from our perspective, but just within his world, he didn't know anything about Kara. He didn't know what they were up to. He just did it just because. I mean, he even told Delta, it's over for you guys. I'm involved now. Like, I'm going to destroy your entire organization. I'm going to find your leader. I'm going to whoop his A word, and that's going to be that for him. And like this dude, he literally just took that upon himself. Like, who did he talk to? Did he talk to the elders? Did he converse with the feudal lord, his boss? Did he talk to Shikamaru, his advisor? No, he just makes decisions on the fly, all because of what? Some emotional I don't know, justification that he has for doing so. This man is extremely incompetent in his role, and it makes sense, right? It's Naruto Uzumaki. Need us not like forget who this kid was.
Yeah.
For me, I'm it's wonderful he attained his dream, however brief it may be. But for me, I do think he is not suited for the role of Hokage. And he never has been, in my opinion. I mean, the mere fact that this man was having difficulty and couldn't make it home with like thousands of shadow clones never made sense to me. So like, I don't know. I feel like he did it. Maybe there's some social political conflicts that get him up out of there, and he's depressed. But I think his character will be the better for it. Naruto, he belongs in the field, not behind a desk.
That is true. That is true. Because I mean, he's always overworking himself. We saw that was a humongous problem in the beginning of the Boruto anime. He was constantly just like mentally drained from just work, and he couldn't even, like as you said, he couldn't even like produce shadow clones. And it wasn't because like he was nerfed, but simply because he just like kept overworking himself and had like the wrong priorities with like taking care of his family and stuff like that. And like
Right.
I mean, I don't know about saying he's incompetent, but I can see what you're trying to say. Like, I feel like with Boruto having Momoshiki inside of him and Kawaki acting this way, that could definitely expose Naruto as Hokage and just like push him down the political ranks where people will look at him very differently. Especially if like the news breaks out that Kawaki killed Boruto in the latest chapter, that could make Naruto look pretty bad in a way.
So y'all
I
saying
mean, yeah.
Naruto should step down as Hokage?
I think that's what. Oh, I mean, I'm the one that brought that up. I don't think they're saying that, but
Nah.
I don't think he should step down. But I think he might be taken down like against his will.
Well,
But maybe, I feel like if he has like some integrity, which he does, because he's Naruto, he's that dude. Then I think if tensions get too high, he'll make that choice himself. So yeah.
Here's the thing. I think it's tricky. And the reason why I say it's tricky is because Naruto by all means, he did some questionable things, but right now we aren't necessarily in a horrible position. I always think, imagine if, like, let's say even Shikamaru was the Hokage. If Shikamaru was the Hokage, Kawaki would be held in a cage underground somewhere, literally being able to come out. Right now, because Naruto made the idea and the decision to actually take Kawaki in, Kawaki is now a powerhouse in the Hidden Leaf Village. Kawaki is arguably the strongest defense that we do have in the Hidden Leaf Village. Not only that, Naruto made the decision, even though a questionable one, to actually take in a model and hear what he has to say. If Shikamaru was the Hokage, he probably wouldn't have done that, especially seeing that he put a bomb around Shikadai's neck. And Amato got pretty much saved us all from Ishiki Otsuki without the intel that he actually gave. It would have been clipped. So I think I understand. And of course, I'm with Mello with actually criticizing Naruto, but a lot of things that Naruto did, it actually worked out very good for the greater good. But also, one of the things that we definitely do have to keep an eye on, those mistakes, just because it worked out already, doesn't necessarily mean that it's probably not. It doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to work out. There's probably going to be decisions in the future that Naruto's going to make, and we can even talk about Boruto dying in the last chapter. It's going to be decisions that Naruto makes that's going to have some bad ramifications, not necessarily always going to work out good and always for the greater good in the end. And I personally believe because of that, Naruto should probably try to reevaluate how he makes his decision. Not necessarily him being completely fired, but let's say Shikamaru has a bigger say or a more important say in the decisions that Naruto makes. Maybe it could be a joint venture. Maybe Shikamaru could be the guy that kind of offsets Naruto's good heart. And I think that right there is definitely important. It can't be Sasuke because Sasuke is like a former actual
Criminal.
Criminal. There it goes. I think people probably would be a little bit worried about that. So Shikamaru being that guy to kind of check Naruto a little bit more, having him have a larger say, is probably going to be very important. Hypothetically, if people do start to question if Naruto still has the Midas touch, as Drake likes to say.
But like when you like say his this is a hypothetical question, by the way, but his connection or his relationship with Shikamaru was like that counterbalance that should have been there but never was utilized. He just made choices on his own without addressing his counsel, and even with look, I know people in chat are saying Naruto was a great Hokage in the novelizations, or it was explained in the years prior. I'm not talking about that. Okay, we're talking about what has happened recently in the Boruto era, which the novelizations they're not covering to that extent. So that's what I'm talking about moving forward. All this stuff, it has a cumulative effect, right? He messes up here, he makes poor decisions here. I mean, look, you're a world leader, bro. I mean, you make choices and people's lives are on the line. Like how many at bats does this guy get to have? And Naruto is one of my favorite characters. But if we're looking at it from a real world perspective, this man is the president. Could you imagine a president like that just makes choices without conversing with counsel, who doesn't talk to Congress if you're in the United States? Stuff like that. It's like come on, man. At some point, what's the line between competence and incompetence to you guys? I don't know.
I see what you mean. Well, real quick, I got a question. Hypothetically, if Naruto says, you know what, I have a huge conflict of interest, let me step down. Who do you think would be the best next Hokage pick? Because I personally believe Naruto still probably wants a huge say in actual activities that the Hidden Leaf Village is probably gonna partake in. Who should be the next 8th Hokage?
Wouldn't it just be like Kakashi?
Yeah, you can. There's 3 options right now. The most logical options: bring back Kakashi, like you said, Mello.
Sorry.
Have Shikamaru step up, or Sakura. Those are the only logical. Sakura's too young, man. She's like 12.
Hey, free game. I agree with that. That's an excellent pick.
In the future, though. In the future, though, for sure. If it happens in the time skip, maybe, because Gaara was Kazekage at 16.
I mean, she's already thinking like a Kage, bro. She's already thinking like a Kage. She's a captain.
Yeah, I know you are.
That'd be officially the weakest Kage of all time.
But
bro, Kage, bro said the weakest Kage, not even Hokage.
Wait till she triggers that Mangekyo, that time manipulation. It's gonna be GG no read, bro.
Oh goodness.